Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Town Hall in Frisco. My name is Roman Moore. I work for Always Mountain Time, the Lift FM, and KSMT. I'll be moderating the candidate forum tonight. We have two segments on the program tonight. We have the mayoral segment. We have three candidates for mayor tonight. And before we get into the bios and the questions for the mayoral candidates, I do want to mention a couple of things for you. That ballots for the April 5th election will be mailed to all town of Frisco active registered voters the week of Monday, March 14th, so next week. If your registration is current, a ballot packet will be automatically sent to the mailing address listed. With your voter registration, any voter who will be absent from his or her residence during the mailing period for ballots may contact the town clerk to request an application for an absentee ballot. Applications must be submitted no later than 5 p.m. on Friday, April 1st. To go over some of the ground rules and the formatics for tonight, I will read a short bio of the candidates, starting off with the mayoral candidates. Then we'll go into the questions for the mayoral candidates. All will be common questions. We hope to get to several questions that have been submitted by you, the audience. There are 8 questions I have, and we will try to get to all of those. If not, I'll try and definitely get to at least 1 or 2 or more of the questions for the mayoral candidates that the audience has submitted. And then after the questions are answered, which the candidates will have 90 seconds, the mayoral candidates will have 90 seconds to answer. Then we'll have closing statements from all the mayoral candidates. Those closing statements also will be 90 seconds. And then we'll move on. We'll have a change in the program, and we'll bring up the town council candidates. Those town council candidates, which there are 7 in attendance tonight, 2 could not make it. I will do the same format. I'll read the bios for the town council candidates, and then we'll begin with the questions. All questions will be the same for each candidate. So this is a little bit unlike maybe what you've seen on TV. There's not going to be the entertainment factor. I'm sorry for that, but we want to keep it informative as much as possible. And we want to keep it respectful. We're all neighbors here. We all see each other. And so there won't be any booing, hissing, laughter, well, unless it's something funny that we can all appreciate. We don't want to be too stiff about this, but no applause, please. Let's keep that kind of in check for right now. And let's show the respect to the candidates and to each other here so we can move along. We have an hour and a half in this program. So we'll end about 7:30 tonight. The first segment, the mayoral candidate segment, will be about 35 minutes. Then we'll take a few minutes to change and get the town council candidates up here. And the cameras will be adjusted for those folks coming in. Same thing applies, except the town council candidates, because there's more of them, will have 60 seconds to respond to the questions. And basically the questions, or at least the 8 that I have started with, will be addressed to all the town council candidates as well as the mayoral candidates. I'll just change the wording from mayor to town council candidate. And then we have a few questions submitted by the audience. Some look like they're directed at the mayoral candidates. That's why we want to try and get to those in the first segment. And looks like the majority may be addressed to the town council candidates. So we'll get to as many of those as possible. So I appreciate you being here. It's great to see this turnout. It's wonderful to see the active participants in the crowd. This is your town. You want to be involved. And I would encourage you after tonight to talk to your neighbors and get them involved. Ask about the candidates. Ask them questions that maybe you have of a personal nature to a candidate or one directed specifically at a candidate, not to all the candidates. Talk to them after this program is over tonight. And other than that, all questions will be the same for all candidates. I think we're ready to begin. I'll start with the bios of our mayoral candidates from left to right. Kathleen Kennedy Bartz, who has lived in Frisco 20 years. She's a lawyer, advocate, innkeeper. Previous participation in town board or committees involved the Frisco Town Council, 2006 to 2008, and 2012 to the present. Educational background, JD, University of North Carolina, BA, Government History, Campbell University. Next, Gary Wilkinson, who has lived in Frisco 50 years. He is the current mayor. Senior supervisor at the Climax Mine, Summit County surveyor. Previous participation in town boards or committees, Frisco Town Council 2008 to 2012. Mayor from 2012 to the present. Former 10 Mile Planning Commission chairman. Former countywide planning commissioner. Former Frisco Master Plan Citizen Advisory Committee member. His educational background, BS, mining engineering, Colorado School of Mines. And Daniel Kibbe, Jr., has lived in Frisco 26 years. He works for Copper Mountain Resort. Previous participation on town boards include Frisco Town Council from 2014 to the present. He ran for mayor in 1992. Educational background, forestry, University of Maine. Those are your mayoral candidates, and right now, let's get started with the questions. Candidates? To make it easy, I'll start question number 1 with you, Kathleen.
Okay.
And then we'll start each subsequent question with the next person down the line. So, candidate number 1, let's start with the obvious question. Why are you running for mayor?
I'm running for mayor because I think at this time in my life, it's the perfect time to run for mayor. I've been lucky enough, and by the way, I just want to make something clear. I've been here 16 years, not 20, so if somebody's checking the score, it's actually 16. Can you not hear me? I will try. I've never been accused of not being a big mouth. At this point in my life, I have the opportunity, I've got the time. I was a small business owner here for 14 years. I closed my business, so now I have some time on my hands. And this has become a passion for me. I love Frisco. I've not been here quite as long as the two gentlemen to my left, but it's my home forever. So I'm ready to take on this next step.
Kathleen? Gary, same question. Why are you running for mayor?
Again.
Seeking a re-election, yes.
I've really enjoyed the last 4 years as mayor and the 4 years before that on town council. Obviously, I love Frisco, having been here 50 years. I love Summit County. I've been involved in a lot of the growth that's happened here. I think we've done well. I've established a lot of relationships with important partners that we have in the county, state agencies. I think that's an important part of being mayor because you do represent the town, not just here, but on other levels. I think I do a good job of that. I think with my experience, leadership, I think I'm the best person in the town to lead this for another 4 years. I look forward to serving another 4 years and hopefully I get people's vote. And thanks everyone for coming out this evening. As you can see, there's a recording going on and it will be on Summit TV. So you can get that sometime after this forum.
Thank you, Gary. And Daniel?
Well, I'm running for mayor to provide a different style of leadership, to be proactive and visionary in solutions concerning housing and recreation. I'm a big recreation person. I'm here to help our longtime locals live here and stay here. I think we do a lot to build affordable housing, but not a lot to keep the people who have been living here for 20 years who are still renting. So I'm here to help, try to help a lot of long-term local people stay here and grow their families here. I'm also running here to help do a bunch of different recreation. I'd like to see our trails, a master plan for the Miners Creek area done. I'd like to see a kayak run coming down from Officers Gulch to Frisco. Something so we don't have to really travel far to do these things. You know, we don't have to go to Glenwood. We don't have to bike to Breckenridge. You know, we got a great outdoors in our backyard, and that's what I'm here really to support and try to implement in that. I also quit my job at Copper at 22 years in 2007. I traveled around South America on a motorcycle, 50,000 miles twice around. And it gave me a big eye-opener on life in general, is, the less you have is the better off you are, I say, It made me a happier person. I'm a waiter at Fifth Avenue Grill. I work about 25 to 30 hours a week, so I also have plenty of time on my hands. And I do own a couple workforce housing here, and I've always supplied housing to my staff from Copper. So I know how hard it is to live here.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. All right, question number 2. Gary, we'll start with you on this one. The second question is, in order of importance, what do you consider the top 3 issues facing the town of Frisco?
Well, good question, and it comes up a lot. Obviously, housing is an important issue, like Dan says. That's been a large segment of our discussions on town council the last few weeks. We continue to move forward and look at different options there. Second, of course, is keeping the character of Frisco. Everyone that comes to Frisco loves Frisco, and I think it's important to preserve that. Everything that we do, everything that we approve has some effect on the quality of life. I mean, we've done a good job at balancing growth and keeping Frisco what it is, but I think that's a challenge in the future as well. Recreation, like Dan says, there's a lot of recreational opportunities out there. It's a challenge to find out what fits best in our community, so we keep looking at that. Sustainability is another big important thing. Frisco's looked at as a leader in Summit County, and I think we need to do a little bit more on promoting sustainability and making sure that we make the right choices and keep moving in that direction. That's, I think, some of the key points that we address.
Thank you, Gary. And Daniel, same question. In order of importance, what do you consider the top 3 issues facing the town of Frisco?
Well, the top 3, as Gary says, is the housing. I think second is recreation and sustainability. We need to do more. It hasn't, I moved here in 1986, and I couldn't move into Frisco until 1988 because there was no rentals back then. So the first year I lived in Farmers Summit Cove, I lived in Wilderness, and finally in 1988 I did get into Frisco. 1989 I bought my first house here. I think we need to do more deed restricted, and we need to do a lot more buy downs. We've had money in a 5A account, over $800,000, and it's just been sitting there. We need to do more with that money, and we need to help more of the longtime local people buy down houses and get into places. Recreation, the same thing. We have great recreation opportunities here. Miners Creek is the same mud holes have been up there for 20 years since I've been here. Why we haven't fixed them, why we haven't done anything to that is beyond me. I'd like to see really a master plan for that area go. And sustainability, I'll kind of cut it short, but we did a great parcel out in Highway 9. Why we didn't have Whole Foods or anybody put any solar power or any thermal power out there to help,
10 seconds.
So that's about it.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. And Kathleen, in order of importance, what do you consider the top 3 issues facing the town of Frisco?
I apologize ahead of time to sound boring. We're all on the same council. We all deal with the same issues, so you're going to hear a lot of repetition, and I apologize for that. My 3 would be housing, sustainability, and healthcare. Housing, first and foremost, everyone's already spoken about it. You read it in the paper, you see it on Facebook. We're in a crisis. We have to figure out how to fix that crisis. As a council right now, we are definitely moving forward, trying to find land, trying to think outside of the box. Where could we put workforce housing or affordable housing or rental housing? It's an ongoing process. Sustainability, I think, is a lot larger than just necessarily environmental sustainability, which happens to be my passion, but sustainability on lifestyle, sustainability on recreation. We don't want to take anything away from the quality of life that we've got here. The third part is healthcare. I'm not going to think for a second that the town of Frisco is going to fix the healthcare in the United States. But I do think that possibly we have an opportunity to talk to other states, to our insurance people in Denver.
10 seconds.
Try to find a way to facilitate, maybe, again, thinking outside of the box, some way that people can get affordable health care.
Thank you, Kathleen. The next question will be fielded first by Daniel. That question will be, since tourism is a major part of the economy here, is there anything you'd like to see added that, say, wouldn't sell out its citizens who still want to keep a small town atmosphere?
Well, I think we already sold out that. It's been a while. So I think we, need to help people, obtain housing to live here. We need more recreation options closer to home, so we don't have to travel to Breckenridge and deal with the congestion of the highway, get on I-70 to go somewhere, It's better to have things right outside our back door, and we have so many opportunities here outside our back door that we need to make better. And so that's what I would be looking at for that.
Thank you, Daniel. Kathleen, same question. Since tourism is a major part of the economy here, is there anything you'd like to see added that wouldn't sell out its citizens who still want to keep a somewhat small town atmosphere?
My background is tourism since I ran an inn for 14 years. It was my life's blood along with the rest of this town. I don't think we're selling out. I think that when we have the diversity of people that come in, they just add to the whole complexity of who we are. We learn from them, they learn from us. I think we have to be careful not to sell out, but at this point, I don't think we have. We have grown, no doubt about it, but we are watching our growth, and we're watching the way we go forward in either building or marketing. By the way, our marketing director is phenomenal. And again, I think every time you get to meet a new person from a new country or a new state or a new county, it just enhances all of our lives. So I am very much for the tourism.
Thank you, Kathleen. And finally, Gary, same question. Since tourism is a major part of the economy here, is there anything you'd like to see added that wouldn't sell out the citizens who still want to keep a small town atmosphere?
Well, I think when you say added, I think we have to focus on what do we have and what can we improve on. We see great increases in heritage-type tourism. We have a great historic park. I think our citizens here and our tourists love it. I think we need to enhance that. That would be one of my goals over the next 4 years, is look at that and improve upon it. Another issue that's going to come up over the next 4 years is a statewide agenda on bike trails, rec trails that interconnect different parts of the state. And I think Frisco is an important part of that because we are at a crossroads. As the county and Summit County and Lake County look at the Fremont Pass, rec path, I think Frisco should play a role in really supporting that because we're going to see more and more of those type of recreational activities coming. It does help our local citizens, and it also helps increase our tourism in the town. And then the other part is Marina and the Adventure Park. We look at what additions we can do there and fit into what we have without distracting from the character of those two great assets that we have. So those are some of the things that I think we can improve on and still keep the character.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. Moving on to the next question, Kathleen, you'll start this one. Many people agree that maintaining a solid infrastructure is the foundation for future reasonable growth. Do you see any future concerns in the area of infrastructure for the town of Frisco?
Well, I think as everyone here has seen, we've been working on infrastructure. We've been working on Main Street. That would be the first thing with our infrastructure, if you're talking about physical infrastructure. Once again, it takes smart, good planning. And as long as we continue as citizens, and not only as a government, but input from everyone, then I think our infrastructure from, as Gary pointed out, a historic park, a marina, the peninsula that people just love in the summer and the wintertime. Keep all of those things healthy and safe, and we're good.
Thank you, Kathleen. And Gary, same question. Many people agree maintaining a solid infrastructure is the foundation for future reasonable growth. Do you see any future concerns in the areas of infrastructure for the town of Frisco?
Well, like we've done in the last 4 years, we've made some major improvements on Main Street, that infrastructure. I think we have to be aware of what's happening around us. The Lake Hill parcel along the Dam Road could have an impact on our traffic and the infrastructure of the town, and the town's gonna have to play a role into providing some of that infrastructure. So we're gonna have to have some important dialogues on that, as well as the Highway 9. Highway 9, there's gonna be major construction there this summer and next summer. And then after that, we're gonna have our final phase from the hospital light in town. That's gonna be a major infrastructure, and how that's done and how it affects our community, I think we have to play a role in and make sure it's done right. Other than that, I think that the town staff has done an excellent job of maintaining our infrastructure, and I think they'll continue to do that.
Thank you, Gary. And Daniel?
Well, like the past people said, I think the infrastructure of Frisco is really great. The sewer plant just got done with a huge expansion. We put a new well in for our water. Our marina is financially sound. Our peninsula, the PRA, is really great. We have a new building out there. We have a lot of good infrastructure. Highway 9 is one of the big things that we're looking at. I'd love to see an overpass connecting from the Commons to the PRA, and I'd like to see some kind of connectivity from Main Street to the marina. Something where people can go under the highway, or I'd rather go under or over, but so they don't have to stop at a light. They can get down there, connectivity a little easier. As a whole, I think the town is great. The Main Street, we got one more phase of that, and we're looking forward to that to be done as council members and getting that behind us. But I think we're in great shape in this town.
Thank you, Daniel. Next question. Gary, you'll start with this one. With the interstate and state highway within the town area, how do you see or would like to see the town's relationship with the Colorado Department of Transportation?
How would I like to see it? It's not reality, but we do the best we can. Our staff has good communication with CDOT. It has a major role in how it affects our traffic, where they stop, where do they meter, all that type of stuff. We have to play a role in that. We do have Highway 9 through here. We ask for improvements on that, and we try to work with them and balance what's appropriate, what's not. But CDOT's a big player. It's the interstate is a lifeline for Frisco, but some of the issues that have come up are trucks idling in the town. I think we need to have a conversation with CDOT on where they can put those trucks without having them on our side streets, as well as the flow of traffic when they do have traffic interruptions. I know our police staff works closely with the state patrol, and that's important, and we'll continue to do that. But it takes communication and keeping up with them and working together.
Thank you, Gary. Daniel, same question.
Thinking the same of Gary. I think we have a good relationship with him. I think a good test of that is going to be the next phase of Highway 9, of seeing what we can get done for the town of Frisco. We've helped them on Iron Spring by donating land for that project. We have helped them, so the biggest thing is looking for us to get some help. So it'll be the next phase will be a thing to see how good of a relationship we do have with CDOT, I think.
Thank you, Daniel. And Kathleen.
CDOT's a big government agency. We're a little government agency. But I think we work pretty well with them. Obviously, as everyone has already said, and I don't want to say ditto, but ditto. I think a couple of the things that we have to look at is there's some land that possibly we can deal and trade with CDOT or partner with CDOT. I do think one of the biggest issues we still have right now is trying to get from here through the Eisenhower Tunnel in the winter. Just a side note, a couple years ago I had to go down and speak before the Congress, the state Congress, about trucks that were not putting chains on and getting stuck. And it was an ironic thing, there were 11 of us going. I went down the day before, thank God, because the other 10 got stuck behind a truck. So I think it's still an issue, and it's just something we have to continue with conversation. And as long as we have that open conversation, I think we can move forward.
Thank you, Kathleen. And Daniel, I believe it's your turn to start with this question. What, if anything, can be done to reach out to Frisco residents to make them feel more a part of their town government?
Well, I'd like to have regular meetings, probably once a month coffee shop meetings, to talk with people. I'd also like to get back into having hours in the town hall, probably before every council meeting, try to have myself available. I'm pretty much available every day. I work 5 nights a week, but pretty much availability to meet anybody any time of day. But hopefully the biggest thing would be to have some office hours here in the town hall so people could come here and talk before the town council meetings and express their concerns before the meetings would be the best.
Thank you, Daniel. Kathleen, same question?
I agree with Dan. I think that we have to try to expand the time that you can, as a citizen, come and talk to the council or talk to the mayor prior to a work session, or perhaps every other week that's not a town council meeting, but give a little bit more opportunity for people to be able to come in and express what their concerns are, or what they're happy about, or what their views are. I'd like to be able to walk down the street and talk to business owners and find out what their concerns are. Once again, I think it's just communication. As long as we can keep those communication lines open, we'll do well.
Thank you, Kathleen. And finally, Gary.
There's a lot of different avenues, and other candidates have some really good ideas, and there's some of them we've tried. I think we have to continue the social media aspect. I think Frisco's improved on that. I'm trying to get that out there. But the main thing is being involved with events, being out there and talking to people during cleanup day, during concerts in the park, talking to them in a casual way. I mean, that's what's important. And then being part of those events, getting good communication. We do have public comments before every council meeting, and it's amazing how few people come and give us any feedback. It's a great way, and then maybe we can look at different ways to enhance that or make it more available to people. But citizens are always welcome to email. Our emails and phone numbers are on our website, and we encourage people to contact the council if they have any concerns.
Great. Thank you, Gary. And let's see. Let's see if we can get to some of the audience questions. As mayor of Frisco, it's important to be engaged and involved. Do you serve on any other local, regional, or state boards and committees? And I think, Kathleen, this would be you to start with this.
At the moment, I do not. In the past, I have. I was the director of the Frisco Chamber of Commerce for a number of years. I served on the Summit County Chamber Board, and I was also the legal advocate for Advocates for. Basically, what I did was I assisted in domestic violence issues. As an attorney, I was able to help victims go through the court system. That's not exactly a larger aspect of the community, but that's what I did.
Thank you, Kathleen. Gary?
Well, since I got on council, I was still on 10 Mile Planning Commission as chairman, Countywide Planning Commission as chairman. I served on the Northwest Council of Governments Water Quality and Quantity Committee, has to deal with our water issues in our Northwest region. Served on the Policy Committee for the Colorado Municipal League, which sets legislative policy for the state. Continue to be involved with the Colorado Association of Ski Towns, as well as the mayors, managers, and commissioners. And tomorrow, the Colorado Association of Ski Towns will have their legislative meeting in Denver, where we will get an update on the legislative issues and then meet our legislators after that. It's important to have those connections. And I feel, after the 12 years, I've developed some pretty good relationships.
Thank you, Gary. And Daniel?
I really haven't. I have a feeling that if I become mayor, that will be in my future, and I will have a lot more of that, a lot more meetings to attend, and a lot more things to get involved in. really, my major concern is to help the people of Frisco and concentrate really on Frisco's issues and try to get some of those solved that have been sitting here for over 20 years that haven't been solved. So that's what I would mostly try to concentrate on.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. And before we go on to the closing statements, let's see if we can get one more question in from the audience. What, if any, change would you like to see occur on the few remaining old commercial properties on Main Street? In essence, more restaurants, hotels, retail, et cetera. And Gary?
Sure. We've been, talking about that and look at what's going to happen on Main Street. We have a good mix, and we have proposals that will come in to council over the next few years on the remaining parcels. I think it's good to have a variety. We want Main Street to be our Main Street, our core, to identify what Frisco is. We just invested $6 million on Main Street. So we want to make sure that has a good variety and quality things, but one thing that I'm never going to allow is a national chain on Main Street. So we have to make sure that we protect that character and support local businesses and do everything we can to keep the charm of it.
Thank you, Gary. And Daniel?
Well, I'd like to see a little bit more of a mix, more retail probably, maybe some more hotels, more restaurants, something to make it more vibrant, more connectivity from Town Hall all the way down to Ollie's, down to the marina. It'd be really nice to have our Main Street a little bit more expanded than the 3 blocks that we have that people walk and turn around. So I think we have a great Main Street, like Gary says. We just invested a big portion of money into that. So I'd like to keep the small town character that we do have on Main Street and look forward to doing that.
Thank you, Daniel. And Kathleen, same question.
I guess the first thing I would like to see is to try to keep as much of the historic charm as we've got in Frisco, the historic buildings. I know a lot of this is owned, and we have nothing to do with it as a government, but it really is what Frisco is all about. The second thing I would love to see sometime is to have a much better entranceway on that side of Main Street. As you're coming off I-70, there isn't a whole lot to draw you in onto Main Street from that side. I mean, I've got great ideas about a bridge and a structure, and yeah, I get a little crazy on it. But I just think that side of Main Street needs to have a little bit of a cosmetic update. It costs money, and most of our money has just gone to the restructuring of this part of Main Street. So I think now it's time to start working that way.
Thank you, Kathleen. I think because of time, we're going to go ahead and move on to the closing statements. So starting with closing statements, unless I've missed something. Did I miss anything? Everybody answered that question, right? Okay, good.
Yes.
Good. Phew, haven't missed anything. So we'll go ahead and go on with closing statements. And Gary, I'll go ahead and start with you. Your closing statement, sir, you have 90 seconds.
All right, thanks. We've accomplished a lot in the last 4 years. We've got the interstate parcel, now base camp going. We implemented Frisco's Finest Awards to recognize important people in our community. Of course, our Main Street improvements. We purchased a building next to historic park. We signed a Denver water agreement, which will bring over $1 million to help improve the marina. And we're working on development guidelines and code updates, and we implemented a central core development guidelines to address the future scale buildings on Main Street. But in the future, we have a lot to work on. A historic park, additional recreation opportunities, dredging the marina if water levels permit, employee housing, partnering with the county on Lake Hill, additional pathways in and around Frisco, and reducing plastic bags in Frisco. We put that off while we were doing Main Street. I think that's an important thing that we should look at, as well as looking at local transit, addressing and advocate for affordable health care and improved pedestrian crossings, especially like Dan said at the county commons. I believe I've provided outstanding leadership for the town over the last 4 years. My knowledge of the issues comes from years of experience on planning commission and involvement with the Colorado Municipal League, etc. I understand the process necessary to get things done while being physically responsible and meeting community goals. I have the respect of other leaders in the community to accomplish these goals I have outlined and look forward to serving another 4 years of mayor.
10
I'll be
seconds.
grateful for everyone's vote.
Okay, great. Thank you, Gary. And closing statement, Daniel.
I think we can no longer give away land and get a payment for 20 years and then not demand the use of renewable energy in the building of workforce housing. I think we can no longer give away land and not demand the safer, improved trails for our citizens who live next to those. What we can do is ask the largest employers and corporations to invest in their workforce and their community, to put the money into workforce housing and recreation, to make their employers healthier, safer, and happier. We need Walmart, Safeway, Whole Foods, National Grocers, private business in the town of Frisco to help us help them make Frisco a better livable place. We can no longer do these things on our own. And that would be it.
Thank you, Daniel. Kathleen, your closing statement, you have 90 seconds.
Okay. First, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. It's so important, and I wish we could get more people to come out more often so that we could have better dialogue. We have done a great job. We're patting ourselves on the back, at least the three of us, along with the rest of the council in the last 4 years. As citizens of Frisco, you guys are so incredibly lucky because you've got qualified people who are passionate and love this town, who are sitting right here. So you can't lose no matter who you vote for. I hope you vote for me. But in the meantime, you just are living in paradise. And as long as we continue to work towards positive goals, good housing, good health care, sustainability, none of us can lose. So again, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your candidates for mayor for the town of Frisco. Kathleen Bartz, Gary Wilkinson, and Daniel Kibbe. Please give them a hand.